Hey, welcome back. It's Brett from Brett's Train Videos. Here's the part 2 to Fostoria. We spent the morning up in Bellevue for a little bit, and then we went back to Fostoria for the rest of the day. Checked out some trains at night, and then we were out the next morning. So not very much else to say, but check out what we saw. Day 2 started off by making the 40-ish minute trip to Bellevue. This was my dad's idea, so we went up there to see some Norfolk Southern traffic. Unfortunately for us, there was not a whole lot going on right now. There were 4 trains during the time we were up here, but 2 of them curved away from the rail park and where we were standing, as you can see here.
Yeah. We should tell him.
We saw an intermodal leaving Mormon Yard heading west. I didn't catch a symbol for this one.
I wouldn't be surprised if your phone's laying on its side by the time I get back over there.
Like I said in the last video, my extra phone was not having a very good time. Here's another example, and the wind from the train knocks it over. Next up was a manifest train going into the yard. NS-119 came with 2 SD-70 ACEs up front, 1 Norfolk Southern and 1 Union Pacific. Lots of junk and many cars on this train. It was calling dispatch and getting ready to work. On the end, we find an ES-44 pushing up the rear. They would set off this DP unit somewhere in the yard before they started working.
That would be your head 54 cars. Setting over to mixer 2.
Alright, coming off of the GATX 230635, head 54 cars.
With nothing else on the line or plan to come through, we decided to head back to Fostoria for the rest of the day. Arriving back in town allowed us to hear some radio chatter between NS Dispatch and one of the locals. I'm not 100% sure what they were talking about since this is my first time in the area, but it sounds like they were going to be doing some movements of cars from point A to point B.
And I'll have to look at it.
Without much time to think, CSX IO10 came back through today with CSX 5343 in the lead. You can tell it is IO110 because of the way it is. Plus, it always seems to have an empty cut of spine cars in the middle. I'm not exactly sure why. They were another long one today. I don't know where the closest defect detector is to Fostoria, but I was never able to hear one for CSX. Next, one of the NS locals came through. I'm not entirely sure if it was the same one that was talking to dispatch when we arrived back into town, but it was a train nonetheless. Yeah.
This engine that literally scared me.
Yes. Norfolk Southern wasn't done, as a 50D came speeding around the corner on the far track with two AC-44s up front. But something a little unusual. NS 4377 is running backwards, or long hood forward today. One thing I loved watching was the locomotives bounce as they cross the diamonds. It's like they're doing little bunny hops. I didn't catch it in the video, but the conductor spoke to dispatch and said they were going to flip the power at a place called New Haven Junction, presumably somewhere east of here. NS 50D comes out of Elkhart, Indiana, bound for Monetta, South Carolina, hauling grain loads. I'm not sure how they were able to pull onto the Chicago line, running long hood forward, or anything that wasn't a local, but I'm not an expert on anything.
Switches and derails of line and lock for mainline use between FS and Wood Street. We're ready to head east to Arm & Hammer with 13 cars.
You go to the Hammer when you show me. When you get the light to go there, Old Fort, you have permission to make your move there. Old Fort, Green Springs as needed. Let us know when everything is line and lock. Normally you're ready to go home.
Alright, we'll get the light at Old Fort. We got permission between Old Fort and Green Springs from reverses. Thank you.
Welcome, Bellevue dispatch route.
The locals were busy today as another eastbound showed up. I caught a little bit of their conversation with dispatch. Sometimes it is nice to see a local doing a job. I often get caught up with the long road trains that I forget to appreciate the small trains. Next up was a CSX train coming north and heading east. We walked a little east of the rail park to see if we could get a different angle for viewing trains. This was one of those as-needed trains. I didn't hear symbol for this one, but it looked to be rock loads out of Columbus bound for someplace east. Lots of GATX cars and NLRX reporting marks. I love that, even on ground level, you can see how full these rapid discharge hoppers were, and just how heavy these cars were based on how sprung the trucks were. This was one heavy train, and it didn't help that we were right near the curve, so the constant screeching hurt my ears sometimes. We walked back over to the rail park to catch NS 303 coming through Fostoria. 303 today had a pumpkin leader and another Jiva second, making for some nice audio from the rumbling diesel engines. .303 had a lot of grain cars in it today. I'm not exactly sure what was in them. They had a cut of tanks, some general manifest freight in there, and on the end, the looks of 2 empty rail trains.
up here from Bellevue to Fort Wayne. I'd like to edit that out.
Yeah, I can't get any views if you're standing in the middle.
Yeah, especially because it's my phone.
Next, NS-38N came blowing through town with a solo AC-44 up front. 38N comes from Decatur, Illinois, and works Lafayette Yard in Indiana and Bellevue, Ohio. Today's 38N had a good mix of everything all throughout the train. Cuts of 4 to 5 cars, then 2 to 3, then a cut of another type of car. Lots of junk everywhere. Towards the bottom of the train, NS-1075 was a mid-DPU. One of the locals returned for NS with one of the Operation Lifesaver units. This one had been around Fostoria on some locals, and we saw it the day before as well. Lots and lots of steel coils this time around. Derails, it blows up. CSX finally returned with an empty ethanol train, B706, from Philadelphia to Chicago. 2 engines on the head end and nothing else but empty tanks. Another CSX came through as M560 came through with a solo leader. M560 runs daily manifest from Queensgate Yard in Cincinnati to Selkirk Yard in New York. A good mix of junk freight with the very large cut of open-top gondolas in the middle.
Those cars carry. What?
CSX was on a roll as CSX M68E came through town, a reroute out of Gibson, Indiana to Willard, Ohio. All auto racks with another solo leader up front. We went and got some dinner and tried to catch the dust rush. We heard lots of trains the night before, so we thought it would be good to get back out there and see what we could catch. The lighting around the rail park is subpar, but we did the best we could. I didn't get a symbol for this first train. Next was CSX X 568, an extra 568 heading north from the B&O tracks onto the C&O tracks with a solo YN 2-liter. One of the locals started pulling northwest onto the Baltimore and Ohio tracks from the south. This officially made us catch a train using all points of the tracks at the Mega Diamond while we were here. Anyway, CSX came blasting through again with another hot shot heading east, I-116, intermodal out of Bedford Park in Chicago, bound for Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, stopping to work North Baltimore, Ohio, and Connellsville, Pennsylvania. This train was extra cool because we got to see a flashing green and the train knocking down the symbol, one of the benefits of railfanning at night. We were upset we missed this one as I-165 came through with foreign power off of the Canadian Pacific. Oh, it's Canadian Pacific.
Darn it. The video's got to constantly do stuff. So it's constantly taking. You can do the best you can, but you can't.
Norfolk Southern was back again with a couple of AC-44s working hard to pull this grain train. Back over to CSX with a couple of EMD units on the head end, something you don't see very often for CSX. I didn't catch a symbol, but it was a manifest train heading west. While it was passing by, one of the locals from Norfolk Southern was moving up to take his signal across the diamond that were west of the rail park. Our final train of the trip came as a Norfolk Southern was notching up and coming our way. 2 engines on the head end and working to haul this train. Lots of junk on this one as well. After it cleared, we left the rail park, worn out and tired. It was a lot of fun coming to a new location to see all of these different types of trains. Obviously, we've seen the Chicago line for CSX, but some of the NS trains were pretty cool as well. It was great to spend some time with my dad and teach him a few things here and there about railfanning and railroads in general. We went home the following day. Thank you so much for watching part 2. It was really fun putting this video together. I'm just kidding, it was terrible. This new video format is not working. It's so much work. Anyway, I appreciate watching. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If there's anything we need to switch up. Obviously, with the tripod breaking was not the most ideal thing. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. Hit that like button if you like it. If you don't like it, hit the dislike button. I'm not picky. And if you want to see more content like this, go ahead and subscribe. You know, if you think there's something we could do a little bit different, let me know down in the comments. Obviously, get a tripod that actually functions. I feel like that'd be a pretty good first step, which obviously I already have. But like I said, all-cart coming up in a couple of weeks, at least from right now, probably not from the time release of this video. I don't really have much else to say, but thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys up in all-cart.